we encourage you to disperse in space and go on your own path of exploration. Keep in mind that you will always be able to find the members of your group with their golden avatars. It is now time to begin your journey.
For the first decade of the life of the studio, we've been mostly focusing on cinematic VR, but knowing that down the road, 3D 360 was just one way of telling stories, and it will evolve. It has to evolve. So will the studio.
The water's coming out of the book.
She also moves across the page with the water.
We started this process back in 2018 when we decided to take a first foray into augmented reality with our project, Jim Henson, the storyteller of the Seven Ravens. The team was, before then, mostly composed of talented people coming from the world of the broadcast, cinema, production and post-production.
When I started, we were just doing cinematic VR production. So for cinematic VR, when I was working on the project, everything was already shot, so I had some footage to work with. But here, interactive project, we were just building everything in 3D, building everything in real-time engine. So it was really, really a different workflow, even a different state of mind for producing stuff. Storyteller was the first interactive project.
And she's right here. I feel like I can touch her.
It's a real physical book, and every time you flip a page, you have a 3D animation, like in a pop-up book that's just gonna appear and go out of the pages and tell you the story. When I was pitched the Storyteller project first, I first question was can you do a rough schedule and budget? And then I was how do we build that? How? So it was, I think, a really big challenge in my journey at the studio, because I was we need to create that, we need to kick off that, but I don't know where to start. After a few days trying to find a way, I was I think we need some help. We need to find people that are specialists in that kind of real-time production.
One of the things that attracted me about coming to Felix and Paul was that here you had this amazing studio that was already well established and had made its name for itself in doing cinematic VR. And for me, it was very brave. I could see the vision that they had for the future in stepping into the interactive space. When we were building the interactive team here at Felix and Paul, we were looking for people who had more skills that they would find in the gaming industry: UX designers, mocap technicians, people who could write materials and shaders for real-time rendering. These roles didn't traditionally exist at Felix and Paul. So having joined the team and helping start the interactive project, it was interesting to learn how Felix and Paul have worked traditionally, and it was also important for them to learn how we work as game devs or experience developers. Whereas the VR world is very much, even the production is very linear. They do a shot by shot, and each time one shot has been approved and in the can, it's done. Whereas the video game world or the interactive world, we have both the luxury and the dread of being able to both change everything even after we've shipped, and we also have the ability to break everything even after we've shipped.
While we were producing The Storyteller, we were also simultaneously working on the cinematic VR of the ISS Experience, so all the material we shot on the International Space Station. The fact that they were working on these two projects simultaneously kind of created the conditions for a creative spark. And that led to us thinking, what if we combined the linear cinematic VR content with an interactive environment? And that led to us deciding to embark on a location-based experience called Space Explorers: The Infinite.
For the next 35 minutes, you will explore a life-size virtual reproduction of the International Space Station. As you explore the space station, you will discover luminous spheres, like this one. You will touch the spheres to activate them. Once activated, each sphere will reveal a short 360 video.
What's really special about where we are here today, the Infinite, is that it is both, maximizing the presence you get from the photorealistic connection with a real place, with real human beings, in this case on the International Space Station with the astronauts, but it also combines with the physical presence of being immersed, physically walking around the computer-generated version of the International Space Station. So really we're getting the best of both worlds here.
Some of the areas that we're exploring or doing some research on these days are in the areas of volumetric capture. It's really the next step in film photography. It's about capturing the real world. However, the ability to bring that captured data into an interactive environment means that film now becomes an interactive medium. We take on a lot of risk, and we do a lot of interesting R&D work. And as someone who spent a long time in the video game industry, it reminds me of what we were doing 25 years ago. Small teams with crazy big ideas and really sort of feeling like we were breaking new ground. Felix and Paul Studios, I have that exact same feeling. It takes me back to those early days in the video game industry when it was actually fun.